welcome to the channel. I'm Chris, also known as Carping with Chris. I do have my own YouTube channel. Make sure to check out the link down below or just over here to head over to my channel to see a little bit more of me and find out a little bit more of me. On this session, you join me down here at one of my club waters and I cannot wait for this session. Really excited, going to try something different. I'm going to be doing claw versus crank. Now, the claw does have my heart. I've not really fished the crank, so we'll just see what happens. I think it'll be really interesting to see which hook I end up liking more. I don't know, but all I can say is I'm really excited. As you can see, I've got a rod behind me, mat, net, and bread. This place is well known for its surface fishing, so I'm going to go around for a couple of hours, trying to nick something off the surface. And for the surface, I'll be using the claw hook. We'll see what happens. Fingers crossed, something good will happen. I'll have a few carp on this session. Come on the carp, come on the carp rod, come on the snide tackle. Bring it on. So then there's actually a carp just cruising around in front of this peg. I noticed him, a few bits of bread out. He did avoid it, but this place, they can be quite spooky. The bread has just come off, sadly, and he's just drifting away. I have good hope that there'll be somewhere else if I can't get one in here. But yeah, this place is just beautiful. Absolutely love it down here. But these fish can be very, very difficult at times. Spooky fish as well. Gonna get on the move. Hopefully there's a few further down. So then, I was just about to move to another peg, and I've noticed a fish creeping in. There's a little bit of distance out. Sun is a nightmare, but I have good hope. Pinching that bread down nicely, get it flicked out there. There's good headroom above me. Oh, that fish is coming right in. He looks like he's ready for a little bit of a feed. Oh, but the family of ducks have decided they want to come over and feed and all. Wait for those ducks to swim on past. Get this piece of bread out in front of him. Hopefully, get him on the bank. And I've just found out there isn't much headroom in this swim. After that little dilemma of getting stuck in the tree, managed to sort it all out. And on previous sessions and this session, I'm finding that this peg seems like a little run through, and all the fish are cruising through here, not really stopping, but they're using this as a pathway to, I suppose, to the shallow end or the deeper end, whichever end they want to go to. And yeah, there is plenty of fish around. Hopefully I can get myself on one or two. Fingers crossed. I'll wait for another one to move in through. Hopefully it won't take too long. So then, walked into this peg just a minute ago. I actually saw some fish at range that look like they're up for a feed, and there's also a fish just in front of me. If I can flick it on him quick enough. Nope, bread has dropped off. Surface fishing can be a nightmare at times. I've tried so many different breads over my time, and I still can't find one with the right consistency. They will actually stay on long enough. Dog biscuits are also another good tactic. Also, they're very good at staying on, unlike the bread. I'm actually using one of the Corda surface controller floats, just to get that little extra distance out into the lake, as I know there is a few fish in here which are further out. Is he going to take it? Is he going to take it? No, I think he's just spooked off of it. Oh, that is a shame. It is a shame. Things happen though. Carp fishing is never easy. I think I'm actually going to take them off. Yeah, there was a fish going for it. So I did last minute that he didn't think he'd like that piece of bread. I'm going to leave it out there for a couple of minutes so I can see a fish coming in. And fingers crossed something will happen. And hopefully I'll be back with you shortly, biting a fish. Soon it will be time to go and set up. As it's coming to autumn now, the light levels don't last as long. But yeah, it's looking good for tonight. The temperature is only going to go down to around 12, 13 degrees. It's been around 20, 21, 22 today. So hopefully the water is nice and warm, ready for tonight. I've still not decided on a peg. I did have a good idea on which peg I wanted to go into. But I've actually had second thoughts. So I could end up on a different peg. But anyways, I'm enjoying the surface fishing. I'm going to carry on at it for a little bit longer and fingers crossed something will happen. There's a fish there. I'm going to quickly run and grab this bread. That's why you should have a piece of bread in your pocket at all times. Yeah, that fish is gone now, but stuff happens. Sometimes it don't go the right way. But anyways, as I was saying, I'm really enjoying this session. Not been here too long, probably only an hour now, but there's been a lot off camera than there has been on camera. But anyways, what am I using for my surface fishing? So straight from the main line down to the Corda controller float. Absolutely love this bit of kit. Does me really well. More than happy to use it for things like this. Then that goes on to some 12-pound floater line. I use 12-pound because I think that's about perfect. There is a few snags in here and I do have a lot of faith that that would just come straight out if that was to go into a snag. And then on the end of that is the famous claw hook. This is a size 6 barbless claw hook. Absolutely love these hooks with my everything. I have been using them an awful lot since joining Snide back at the start of the year. It got me 3 PBs in 3 months onto the bank. There was a podcast which I was in a few months ago and I said then I had 2 PBs. Well, it changed to 3, but really happy with these hooks. They're absolutely amazing. Hook holds are incredible and they're really aggressive hooks. So once that hook goes in, I know it's not going to come out, which is really good. I am doing some things recently, fishing different places, weedy lakes, snaggy lakes, and every time, even if a fish does go in a snag or the weed, this hook is pulling them straight out because these hooks are just incredible. You have got the micro barb as well, which I also absolutely love because that hook is not going anywhere at all once it is in. Cranks are also a good hook. I've not used them very much, but I do need to start using them a little bit more for a few things. We've got a few people on the team that are using the curves quite often and absolutely love them. I've also used the wide gapes a few times. They were good hooks also, but I prefer this claw to anything else. Anyways, we're going to see if anything else wants to turn up. If not, we're going to set up for the night. Come on. So then base camp is all set up now, and it's just time to get the rods out. As you may be able to see behind me, the light levels are dropping quite fast, but really looking forward to tonight. I'm a firm believer that the full moon does give good luck, and also I do believe that it does bring out the big common, so fingers crossed that big common will be sat in my net tonight. Anyways, straight to the point. On both of my rods I'll be using Ronnie rigs, but there is a slight difference. One rod I'll be using the claw, and one rod I'll be using the crank. And I'm just going to see what I prefer out of the two, and which I think is better hook holds wise, and also which I feel more confident in. We'll see what happens, and hopefully it all goes well. So then, before I came out on this session, I did tie up a few boom sections at home. And this boom section, I'm using the 25-pound fluorocarbon, and then crimped onto one end is the Ronnie swivel. So obviously, as you can see, the hook just goes straight onto there and it's absolutely perfect. Really looking forward to this. Absolutely love this rig. Using it with a trimmed down pop-up has always done me quite well. So that's what I'll be doing on this session. Fingers crossed something will happen. But let's get to putting these rods together, and hopefully we'll get a fish or two tonight. Yeah, man. So then, for the Ronnie rigs, I will be using the pink kickers, the micro ring swivel, and also one of the beads to stop everything coming off. Now, I absolutely love using the pink kickers myself. I'm not entirely sure why, but each to your own. Some people do prefer to use different colours. Just put a little bit more into that kicker, just as you can see, that's probably a little bit too much for me. There we go, that is around about perfect. Just going to bring that bead down a little bit more. I quite like it just off of the barb, but as you can see, that'll be sat just like that on the bottom of the lake bed, ready to snatch those carp straight from the bottom. And the boom section is 5 inches long. I think that's absolutely perfect. It's not too much for the fish to get away with it, but they can just about swim away with that in their mouth. So then I am just sorting out for the second rod, and this time I will be using the claw hook. Just sliding that kicker straight on, and it goes on like butter, absolutely smooth, and that is absolutely perfect. Just pull that down there for now just to move it out to the way. Next is the micro ring swivel straight onto there, and then obviously you just put floss through that to put your bait on, and then blob it down with the lighter. Then we've got the bead here, which also just slides on like so. Absolutely perfect yet again. Now just to add the boom section onto that. So here we are, here's the boom section. Quickly slip that through there, pull the kicker down if I can. There we are. I'm just going to move this bead back where I preferably like it. Everyone likes it in a different spot, but there we are. I am now happy with that rig. Yet again, 5cm boom. Very, very happy with how that is looking. And then this one will just sit like that on the bottom of the lake bed. Happy days. I'm going to get these onto some rods now, and hopefully these will do a bite or two tonight. then rod number 1 is about to go out, and as you can probably see, it is very dark already. I'm just going to be putting this rod just under this tree to the left of me. It's done me bites before, and it just seems like a good place for a fish or two to hold up in. So I'm going to flick this under. This is on the crank. Hopefully something will happen on this rod. There's a little bit of activity from smaller fish down there, so I can imagine the carp should move in at some point. So then, that is the rig in position. Now just for a handful of oily over the top of that. And then I'm just going to crumb a few as well. I've quite often found that crumbing a few can get the fish proper grabbing around. You've got all the little bits all over the place. And that is that rod set. Rod number 2 is going to be sent over towards the island, and probably, I don't know, two minutes ago, if that, fish showed just over there. So I have good faith in that. I did think about putting it just down to my margin over here actually, but we'll just see how things go. Hopefully something will happen over by the island. Light levels aren't brilliant. It's not dark enough for the head torch really, but I'm giving it my best shot to cast over there. I've also got my 12-foot rods with me, so casting is quite a challenge. So that has just gone probably a rod length off of the island. In all honesty, I'm not too happy with that cast, but the fish are there. Fish are there. So then it has come into darkness now, and I am full of excitement. The full moon looks absolutely incredible, it seriously does. But I'm feeling very confident with especially one of my rods. The rod to the left of me underneath the tree has had plenty of liners, and it's just had a bit of a, what I would say, a false run. So it's just gone into it and dropped it again, or possibly a savage liner, either one of the two. But I'm really hopeful for tonight. Fingers crossed something will happen. Fingers crossed something good will happen. The other rod, I'm not too sure on where it is, if I'm honest. I may end up moving it, or if I am up early hours in the morning, I will probably be moving that rod closer in, as where it is at the minute, it's probably halfway in between the island and me. It's not at the distance I really wanted it. I wanted it bang on that island, but sadly I didn't get it there. Anyways, I'm really happy with my rigs. They look absolutely incredible, as they always do. Full confidence in both of the hooks that are out there tonight. So fingers crossed something comes along and decides it wants a munch. Come on the carp, come on the carp gods, come on the snide tackle. This stuff is going to make something happen. So sadly, nothing did happen for me last night, which I'm actually quite confused on. I thought the spots looked good. The fish yesterday seemed fairly active, but stuff happens, and I mean, it's not always gonna happen. Blanks do come at times, and especially coming into the colder months now, these fish, they don't seem to be on it, and we're getting hot weather, then cold weather, then hot weather and cold weather again. But fingers crossed I can make something happen before I have to leave, and hopefully I get to find out the whole reason I came here, which is better, the crank or the claw. Fingers crossed something happens, keep you posted, so hopefully something does. So then, I was up in the shallows last night, but I really did need a move to the other end of the lake. I have come down to the deeper end, but there is 2 bridges which tend to do bites down here. So I'm going to give it a go. Hopefully something will happen. I do apologise that nothing has happened at all. And if nothing does, there will be an episode 2 where, fingers crossed, I actually do catch something to find out which hook I prefer. I'm just trying to bang this rig over to the other side of the bank, next to a bridge where the water runs in between this lake and the lake behind the garden centre. I'm going to try and whack it over there, clip it up to the distance that I want it, and once I know it's in the perfect position, I'll be able to put a rig on and get it over there. Fingers crossed it don't take too many attempts, and hopefully I don't snag myself up. We'll just have to wait and see. But I'm going to try and get this over there, and hopefully I get it in the right spot. So then the trees just behind me and in front of me are actually really, really overgrown. This could be quite a challenge with a rig on, and my casting seems quite off today. Hopefully we will eventually end up with a rig over there. I'm slowly getting closer to that sweet spot where I want it. Taking a good few casts, but I'd rather get it bang on into that position in which I am wanting it. Yeah, I might have to clear off a few leaves from the tree behind, but that is not a problem at all. I'm just going to quickly clean off a few leaves off of that tree. Hopefully I'll be able to bang it straight out there exactly where I want it.
2 hours later.
Now that is absolutely spot on. That has actually just landed about a rod length off of where I want that. I don't even know if that's a rod length. That might even be closer in than I think. Now, I have seen a few bubbles in the process of doing this, so I think I'm going to get this rod out there with a little bit of bait, and then I'm going to put a rod on some bubblers, and fingers crossed something will happen. But there is also crayfish in here which do cause a lot of disturbance and a lot of bubbles as well, but fingers crossed, make something happen, see what we can do. Come on. So then I've actually just snuck over to the garden centre, as I will be fishing up towards this tree, probably just where those leaves are there. So I've just come over here cheekily to put a bit of bait in, and hopefully, fingers crossed, have a fish. As you've just seen, there's plenty of fish action in the garden centre, but you can't fish for them, sadly. But anyways, gives me good hope that there's some fish active around in the vicinity, which should stir up a bit of a muck, hopefully get some fish on feed over here. Yeah, man. That was absolutely spot on. That has just landed about 2 inches from that tree that I showed you earlier on. Absolutely spot on. Yeah, man. So then both of my rods are out now. Quite happy with positions of where they both are. I've got one obviously over to the tree. That was absolutely perfect. That's probably about 2 inches off of that tree, exactly where I baited up. So very, very happy with that rod. And then the rod next door is straight to some fizzing fish, no bait around that, just a single out to where I can see that there is fish around, so fingers crossed I can pick something up on that rod too. Really is a waiting game now, just looking at both of my rods, feeling happy they're both out, both presentated, and very happy about that. My left rod, I'm fishing the crank, and that is with a white pop-up, just trimmed down a little bit so it looks a little bit more natural, and fingers crossed that'll do something. And then my right hand rod has obviously got the claw with a little bit of pink fake corn topped with a little wafter. So fingers crossed something will happen on that rod too. I'm feeling a lot more confident over here now than I did when I was down the other end. So fingers crossed I can make something happen here. I've tried as much as I can now. There isn't really anything else I can do other than wait. So I'm going to sit here, chill out, and fingers crossed something will come along soon. Yeah, man. So then it has come to the end of this session, which is a great shame. But I've really enjoyed it. Although I didn't get to try out the crank versus claw, I will definitely be back on it next time. So make sure to look out for that, as there will be an episode 2 of this series. Fingers crossed, next time I can make something happen. And hopefully it does go a lot better than this. I've really enjoyed this. Make sure to like and subscribe, and head to www.snitackle.co.uk. Thank you all for watching. Also, make sure to check out my socials on this side, as well as the Snide Tackle socials on this side. Hope you all enjoyed. See you next time.